Let's see if we're working. 8 seconds. I don't hear anything. Up here it goes. Seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. And let's get over to the news. I got something really interesting for you that I got kind of sucked into. Let's just start with this, because we always like to start with something like this, right? Here we go.
If you are seeing this video, you're part of a small circle of publishers that could change the world. My name is Hunter Bliss, and I'm the founder of the Pebble Printing Group. A little over 1 year ago, I started my printing company here in Shenzhen, China, to develop printing solutions for a new material called stone paper. Stone paper doesn't use trees or water and produces 70% less carbon emissions in production than traditional paper. It's made of 80% calcium carbonate and 20% high-density polyethylene.
Polyethylene and
16 million times
calcium
more abundant
carbonate.
than trees on Earth. And high-density polyethylene is a super efficient plastic that only consumes 0.5% of our annual oil consumption at an even higher volume than traditional paper. These two components in a simple, more recyclable paper can remove critical resources from the traditional paper supply chain and create a more circular economy. Stone paper has a number of features that even make it better than traditional paper, like being tear-resistant, waterproof, fire-resistant, non-toxic, and many others.
Okay, well, I don't know enough about stone paper to be, I know stone paper enough to be dangerous, but I like the article that Hunter wrote. Was in PI World, for those of you who want to know, and I'm going to reach out to Hunter, because I've never, as far as I know, I've never touched stone paper, although to me it sounds like a little bit like Tyvek, which has some printing challenges. I'm interested in it partly because WDMA works with a lot of printers, and there's a big problem getting paper. So if it's even remotely easier to produce, and we can scale it, then it's, I'm all in for alternatives. I guess that would be what I would say, is that I'm not a believer in not using trees. I believe trees are just a wonderful way to make paper, and very recyclable. But there's a lot of calcium carbonate in the world also. I know, because I had a couple of patents in cement. And so here, anyway, he decided to try to market the stone paper out of China. That's where he was based. And so he sent some mailers to Germany mainly, and some in Australia. And he had to put stamps on them because he used China Post. And they came marked up with their grams per square meter, and not much happened with it. So then he decided to do it again, because he said you really have to feel stone paper to understand it. And there's a problem that water-based inks have a challenge with it. And so he had to basically run it through his inkjet printer. It would seem like a regular laser printer, because that's kind of ironed filings. That would seem to work well, although he didn't consider that. And then he learned how to fold it with an origami video. And he could use his DeskJet printer. Maybe his DeskJet printer, I think that's still an inkjet printer. I don't think that's like my little laser printer. Anyway, he sprayed varnish over it to get that to dry. So there's some challenges with printing on it, obviously. He enclosed some samples and sent it to New Zealand, and landed a significant book publisher, and also a cylindrical container that they were making out of plastic. And he told them that he thought that the plastic was actually maybe more recyclable than the stone paper. And he regrets that. I regret that decision, but he wanted to stick with principles, and whatever that means, I understand completely. So then he went to Australia, and it was a much bigger market. And now he's got that video he recorded. He did some more preparation, and the video is linked to a QR code on the envelopes. So he's committed to direct mail. And he hand-sealed the stamps to give the stone paper envelopes extra high-end feel. And there's his mailer. which is pretty good deal. And he had his $500 campaign had 1,000% ROI, which I suppose would mean that he hopefully made $5,000 in real bottom line EBITDA profit. And now the first stone paper children's book is coming out with a mid-sized publisher. Again, I wouldn't say that this should replace or will replace pulp-based paper, but I think that it's always good to have alternatives and always good to have some materials that have different properties and applications. Although, if anyone out there knows any suppliers in the United States of stone paper, and I will reach out to Hunter, I'd love to get some samples of it and see what its availability is in the United States. So now let's go over to here. Adweek, David Kaplan has an article that says that mobile ad dollars will top direct mail spending in local media for the first time. And as you know, my opinion, that's a great failure for direct mail, but it's our own fault because we've lost sight of the trackability, the attribution, and engagement of mail, and we're not making the case regularly for the heuristic system of testing. Direct mail gives us elements that can't be replicated in mobile. You can't tell me who saw the ad and didn't engage. You don't know who saw the ad or who didn't. Okay, but in mail, we know there's engagement. Every recipient has some level of engagement. So we know who engaged and bought, and we know who engaged and didn't buy. And that gives us a labeled data set that is unreplicable. Irreplicable? I don't know. Irreplicable. in digital. Can't do it in TV. Can't do it in mass media. Okay, and so anyway, that's all it says is that this year direct mail will have, up until next year, direct mail advertising attracted the lion's share of local ad budgets, which I wasn't sure that was the case, but apparently it is. And now those days are gone forever. Well, don't ever say forever. Okay, now the last article I wanted to get to is really, really excellent by Patrick Carroll from Sequel up in Minnesota. And I better confirm that. Yeah, Sequel response. Okay. And I love this. This is one of the best articles I've run across in ages because it emphasizes two things. It emphasizes testing, that the secret to finding the best offer, the secret is testing. The secret is not a secret, okay? Read Claude Hopkins' Scientific Advertising, available at scientificadvertising.com for free, and it's not secret. And Claude Hopkins says, 100 years ago, says, it's all known. We know how to do it. The direct mail guys have figured out what works. So I highly recommend that book. I also recommend this article. So subscribe to WDMA and you'll get the show notes. You'll get this article in PDF form with the markup so that you remember the important key points. You can scan it faster, put it in your archives, or print it out on your color digital printer, and you'll have a really pretty marked up version. But also, don't forget, tomorrow, we've got almost 24 people planning to come or registered or something. At 2 p.m. tomorrow, we'll probably, if you register, we'll send you a reminder so that you get the Zoom link, because a lot of times, half the time, people don't come because they can't find the link, though you can add it to your calendar by just going there. So get over there. We need your support because, as far as I know, I'm the only regular media outlet talking about mail pretty much every day. Okay, so he says, that was interesting. He said the three critical pieces are data, creative, and offer. Not necessarily in that order. And, data was a euphemism for your mailing list. We don't want to talk about mailing lists anymore. But the trouble is that most data doesn't include a mailable address. That's one of the big shortcomings. Another big shortcoming of digital. When you do digital advertising, if you're lucky, you get their fake third-level email that they never go and check. They just give it to you so that they'll get the article or whatever it is you're sending them. So you don't get a real email and you don't get a real address. And when you do the matchback, which I was going to do an article on, The matchback will only generate you about 5% mailable addresses. That's just the way it is. So if you got 100,000 visitors, you'll get 5,000 that you can mail. That's the downside of most retargeting. We're working on that. We have an alternative. If you're interested in retargeting, you really need to reach out to me, and we'll talk about how you can get real data from a mailing, how you can amp up the recoverable data by 1,000%. I'm making that number up. Okay, so the data, your mailing list can account for 70% variation. Now that's not 70% of a viable list versus a junk list, right? This is a 70% variation within all the lists that you think are good, okay? The best one will do 3 or 4 times better than the worst, at least. Probably way more than 70%. Okay, so this is crucial because the more your offer resonates, it's not exactly personalization, but if you mail to people, if you're mailing ads for Lamborghinis and you're mailing to people that only make $30,000 a year, it doesn't matter how much they love your offer. It doesn't matter how much they love your creative and your mailing piece. They don't have the money for a Lamborghini. Okay, does that make sense? There are people, and in fact, about 90% of the modeling efforts, we call it predictive mailing or modeling, it's not. What it is figuring out who's not really worth mailing. That's what we do. Okay? Now, in that, if you do it carefully, you may find more mailable names than your client was planning to mail with RFM. That happened with the Cabela's when they went to that eugenic Bible of hunting and fishing supplies. We doubled their circulation on that because they were only looking at a very clunky RFM model. So most mailing pieces are designed around the often overlooked yet pivotal direct mail offer. There's beautiful stuff in here. Okay, he's got a list. But the secret is the testing. Testing is the not so secret to success. And by testing, we don't mean you try this, try package A, and then a couple months later you try package B and you find out it did better. No. I asked one of my golf clients, I said, Matt, which is a better golfer? The golfer that shoots a 72 or the golfer that shoots a 86? And he said, well, depends. I said, yeah, you bet. I said, 86 was Jack Nicklaus's worst PGA Tour round ever, and 72 was my best regular round ever. Okay, so I'm not a better golfer than Jack Nicklaus. We all know that, but I was on a little executive course and not a PGA championship. So the best way to know who's going to win, the best way to test your offer is head-to-head the same day. Right? Drop them the same day, and A-B split is every other name. That's how we do it. We split each list, we split the whole mailing, and we get a reasonably valid, homogeneous test, okay, with the same weather conditions on the same playing field. Keep that in mind. And the other thing we do is that especially when the test is super important, let's say you've got you do a little test of 10% of your mailing, you test a new offer, and it does really, really, really well. The next, you probably want to come right back and test it again, okay? Test the same thing. This time, don't give it 10%, give it 50%, or give it even 80%, but test against that control. And you'll find it probably doesn't do as well because there was something weird, some nuance of just random luck that offer got a bunch of great people seeing it, but there's sort of the regression to the mean issue there in testing. But if it's real, it will repeat, and you will make a lot of money in the second mailing. And then you start. Hopefully you have a hypothesis of why you tested what you tested. Hopefully it was based on something that actually was thought through before you planned the test. And so that when you get confirmation, you say, that seems to be actually true. And that's how we do direct marketing. It's that process of observation, hypothesis, testing, explanation, and repeat testing to give us theory of what resonates with our customers. not telling our customers what resonates, not letting Google say, oh, this guy's a customer at this very second. Okay, but we're not going to tell you about everybody else that saw the ad. Google has that advantage. We don't worry about how many people it took to get that order. In mail, we have to worry about that. Google just tells us, oh, there's always more. There's always more people we can send it to. Just give us more money. No wonder it's not scalable. Anyway, so there's some excellent stuff on things you can vary. Percentage discount, dollar value. Dollar value almost always beats percentage discount, FYI. Free trial, free anything, free limited time offer, freemium, gift, just even buy now or don't wait. Now, having said that, I've said I've worked with several clients who had put sale on there or lowest price ever or something, some kind of, and they heard that would work, but they put it on high gloss varnish stock, and the piece like screamed high end, and then they wanted to do a discount offer. Make your piece consistent. Put it on ground wood. Put it on a thick ground wood cover stock postcard instead of a high gloss, something like that. There's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of fun you can have. Talk to Heather Gould, Mike Gunderson. There's a lot of great people around, and talk to Patrick. So anyway, also big questions. This is a great article, but I better be quiet now. Just go to wdma.org, subscribe or join, and then you'll see the show notes, which are almost always up like right after this. I make a point to do that. And then we also put up a podcast every day, but register for tomorrow's meetup, and you'll get to meet some of these people. I think some of them are registered, in fact. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Bye-bye.